The EC also has the power to adequately compensate Nanekwe Free in damages if she wins the application to quash the EC's decision to rerun the elections. With this decision by the High Court, the Electoral Commission is expected to carry out the rerun of the 19 polling stations of the Ablikma North constituency on Friday, July 11. Lodi Dasari, T3 News, Accra.
So at the High Court right here in Accra has set July 23 for the commencement of the trial of former board chair of the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund, Professor Christopher Amayekumfi, and the ex-chief executive Solomon Asamoah over the controversial ACRA Sky Train project, which failed to materialize. The two have been charged with causing financial loss to the state and willfully dissipation of public funds. They have also pleaded not guilty and are on bail in court on Wednesday, July 9. Lawyers of Professor Amayekumfi withdrew their application, asking the court to strike out the charges against him. Justice Comfort Shame therefore struck the application out as withdrawn. The prosecution then noted that they will call the first of their 8 witnesses when the trial begins. The case has since been adjourned to July 23 for the trial to commence. Away from the court and matters of international relations, the United States has reduced visa access for citizens of Ghana and Nigeria. Instead of getting the usual visas that last up to some 5 years, travelers will now receive visas that are valid for only 3 months and for 1 entry. The new rule took effect this week and also applies to most visa types. Now, these also include student visas, business visas, tourist visas, and work visas. This means that Ghanaians and Nigerians will now have to apply for a new visa every time they want to travel to the United States after the expiration of the 3-month period. Officials from the United States say the change is due to concerns about visa overstays and poor document security. They also say they are now trying to match the visa rules that their own citizens face in these countries. Ghana was told that 21% of its student visa holders stay longer than they are allowed. Ghana's Foreign Minister Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa said the issue is not about crime or terrorism, but is only related to immigration. He continued that Ghana is already working with the United States of America and its officials to solve the current predicament. Nigeria's Foreign Minister Yusuf Taga gave a stronger response. He said the new policy is an unfair economic restriction that could subsequently damage trade and relations between West Africa and the United States. Both Ghana and Nigeria now have 60 days to fix the problems raised or risk facing tougher restrictions. This could even include full travel bans in the future. Following that, Ghana's Foreign Minister Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa has described as misleading reports claiming that Ghana abstained from a UN Human Rights Council vote on LGBTQ issues. According to the minister, the question being voted on was whether the mandate at the independent expert on protection against violence and discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity should be renewed. According to the foreign minister, the decision to abstain is in line with Ghana's current position, which is against legalizing LGBTQ rights in Ghana.
Vote on support for LGBTQI, no vote. The ministry is issuing a statement, and we shall be quoting copiously, very clear terms, the exact question as was put at the meeting, so that you can also independently verify. And it is clear that there was no vote on support for LGBTQI, whether you are for LGBTQI or you are against. If that was the vote, you can be assured that Ghana will have voted clearly against, because that is our position. We do not support that practice. And President Mahama has made it very clear that it will not be on his watch that he will support or his government will endorse LGBTQI. He's made that very clear. And all of us, our religious leaders, our community leaders, our chiefs, everybody is clear about where Ghana stands on the matter of LGBTQI.
Another front, private legal practitioner Kufu says the process the suspended Chief Justice is going through over claims of misconduct has nothing to do with people's opinions over her. The comment comes as the suspended CJ goes to the ECOWAS court over claims of human rights abuses in the process currently she's being taken through. Kufu spoke to Beatrice Edu.
The comparatives are not necessarily an ingredient for impeachment. Those comparatives are not necessarily an ingredient for impeachment. We go to court on every occasion and we get rulings against us. I disagree with the Chief Justice in respect of a ruling when there was an ex parte application and the application was granted to run till the end of the case. I disagreed with her. But those are not ingredients for impeachment because judges have the power to go right and have the power to go wrong. We go to court sometimes, we put forward very good cases, we lose. You may complain in the comfort of your office, but that does not necessarily become an ingredient for an impeachment process.
So on the Parliament one?
On the Parliament one, with respect to the Speaker back in
Yes, yes.
The Chief Justice took a position in court, which I disagree with, especially in respect of the application for injunction. I disagree that it was held ex parte. I thought there was substantial time for people to have been put on notice. I thought that it was unnecessary for the court to be engaged in an existing confrontation with Parliament, especially as we approached an election period. It gave us very, very tense situation to the environment, the political environment at that time. But that is not to say that these are ingredients for impeachment.
So you agree that it was an interference?
I wouldn't say it was an interference. It was a constitutional interpretation which did not favor the parliamentary branch of government. I wouldn't call it an interference. Otherwise, persons who do not disagree with the decision to form an Attorney General or J.H. Mensah will call it an interference. Ever since the days of Marbury and Madison, we've come to understand that the Supreme Court is the court vested with power to interpret matters, acts, and everything that comes from Parliament. So it's not an interference, but back to your question as to how people view this, I take the firm position that persons who are aggrieved and want the Chief Justice removed, irrespective of their motivations, will have to trigger an Article 146 proceeding. It is how those who look at the proceeding and those who handle the proceeding, that is what matters for me.
In other news, President John Dramani Mahama has unveiled an ambitious vision for Ghana's maritime future, highlighting national security, economic opportunity and regional cooperation as key pillars for growth and resilience. The announcement came during the 4th International Maritime Defense Exhibition and Conference convened at Bema Camp, where the president's speech was delivered on his behalf by the Chief of Staff, Julius Debra.
In a message that resonated with purpose, President Mahama called for a new era of maritime innovation and security in Ghana and across the West African sub-region.
We are exploring various avenues to equip the Navy with offshore patrol vessels and fast patrol boats to augment existing platforms. As part of our 8-pillar strategy under the National Reset Agenda, Ghana aims to become West Africa's premier regional hub for trade and investment.
The president's statement emphasized that maritime security is not just a defense issue, but a foundation for economic development.
Africa's blue economy holds unlimited potential, from fisheries and offshore oil to shipping and international trade. The seas around us are a lifetime for economic development and regional integration. Yet our maritime domain is under persistent threat. In West Africa, the Gulf of Guinea remains one of the world's most vulnerable regions to maritime insecurity.
The Chief of Staff reiterated Ghana's intention to intensify joint maritime operations and deepen collaboration with ECOWAS, the African Union and global partners to combat piracy, illicit trafficking and environmental threats in the Gulf of Guinea. The address also revealed government's plans to strengthen the Ghana Navy and allied maritime agencies through increased investment in surveillance technologies, joint training programs and maritime research institutions. The IMDAC 2025 continues to host global defense and industry leaders. Ghana's prominent role in shaping maritime security and economic development remains a focal point.
You may have heard allegations about the takeover of local mine, engineers and planners, and one Azuma Resources. Now, the development has raised eyebrows with analysts and the ordinary individual alike asking questions over the ongoing media spat. In this report, Eric Mawenegbeta breaks down what has now, according to the analysts, become a complex subject.
Controversy all starts with Imani's Bright Simmons flagging a media invitation by engineers and planners to announce a takeover of Black Volta Gold Mines, a local mine domiciled in the northern part of the country and owned by Azuma Resources Ghana. According to Mr. Simmons, that invitation, which would later turn into the signing of a financing agreement, was ill-fated as Azuma Resources Ghana denied selling the mine to ENP. According to records by both contesting parties, negotiations between Black Volta Gold Mines and engineers and planners started in 2023. This was after the mine owners approached EMP, a company connected to President Mahama's brother, Ibrahim Mahama, to purchase the mine as they had challenges, including mounting debt. The big question then comes in. If there was an agreement to buy, why are both parties out in the media? Well, according to Azuma Resources Ghana, ENP failed to meet timelines in fulfillment of the agreement, hence their decision to terminate the purchase of the mine. It doesn't end there. ENP has challenged the alleged termination agreement while disclosing they have secured a high court order preventing any further engagement or development over the purchase of the mine. Which brings us to these set of facts now. Azuma Resources Ghana entered an agreement with EMP for the sale of their Black Volta gold mines valued at $100 million in 2023 with clear timelines and financing agreement. Despite challenges on both sides, ENP made some financial commitments. But these commitments did not stop Azuma Resources from terminating the agreement. EMP is currently challenging the termination in London and has secured a court order against any further development or sale of the mine. EMP announced financing agreement with ECOWAS Bank for Investment and Development (EBID) worth $100 million to pay for the Black Volta gold mines. Both parties are accusing each other of impropriety in their respective media commentary. So the big question again remains, why the open media fight when there is ongoing arbitration over the agreement?
Well, let's take you to the central bank, where the Bank of Ghana spent some 206 million cedis just on official travels in 2024, which is double the previous year's amount. Now, this is despite ongoing efforts to tighten public spending as part of Ghana's IMF-supported economic recovery program. Now, following 3 Business News Desk report has more.
The Bank of Ghana has come under public scrutiny following its 2024 annual report, which shows that the central bank spent 206 million cedis on official travel last year. This figure is exactly twice the 103 million cedis spent in 2023 and represents the highest travel-related expenditure by the bank since 2015. The disclosure comes at a time of increased calls for fiscal discipline, especially as the central bank posted a 9.4 billion cedis loss for the year, an improvement from 2023's 13.2 billion cedis loss, but still significant. Though the central bank did not provide a detailed breakdown, analysts say Ghana's involvement in the IMF program, including travel to Washington and other international engagements, may have contributed to the sharp rise. Travel spending by the Bank of Ghana was as low as 20 million cedis in 2020 due to COVID-19 restrictions. It surged from 76 million cedis in 2022 to this record high, 206 million cedis in 2024. Meanwhile, a presidential directive issued in February 2025 bans first-class travel for government officials, a move expected to moderate such costs going forward.
Well, and that's it for the latest news update. We have more as we commence TV3 New Day, myself and Na Ashoko.